Hey there and happy Tuesday. I'm here a little bit earlier today because it's kind of blustery out and local schools are closed, and so hopefully everybody's safe at home or safe where they need to be today because of the weather too. So I'm excited about my card, and that's another reason why I'm a little bit earlier is I saw this card by, I think it's uh, I'm always bad with pronouncing names. Sherry Stojkovic, maybe she goes by Sherry, and I saw this and I'm like, oh, that looks gorgeous. Didn't realize it would take literally minutes to put together, which is always like a favorite of you guys when I can do something quick and easy. Hi there, Lois. Hi, Carol. Hi, Amy. So yeah, with putting this card together today too, I thought, you know what, I'm so excited. After I stamped and put together a whole bunch of cards earlier, I'm like, I'm ready to make the card. And when it came together early, I'm like, well, let's just do the card live. And then there we go. All right, so in that meantime, I can move this. Hopefully it's just a one and done, but like I said, the weather here is not the greatest, so I'm sure that that's going to make a difference, maybe what the connection is. Thanks, Kay, for sharing. You're so sweet to always do that. So what I think is super cool about the card is that extra touch of having the embossing on there too. And I just am bringing out some colored pencils today that you can see, which I haven't used in a long time. And I know I have a lot of stamping friends that love their colored pencils. And not that I don't love them, but I tend to reach for or grab my my Stampin' Blends when it's time to color and such. So it's just fun to see this really pop, and colored pencils is what you need to do it. But before I get too much into the nuts and bolts and making it, I just want to point out it's from Celebration. So I kind of go back and forth between using new things that are just from the mini and things that are from Celebration. So right here, this is still, I think, the #1 item redeemed, at least with my customers that have been ordering the Simply Marbelous paper, and I've done some really cool things with this. Today I'm going to focus on the smoky slate, and then in the back is that calming Camellia. I actually gave away some of these earlier during Celebration for my 26th Stampin' anniversary, and I'm going to pull that out again today. And so it's not too late. It is the last week of Celebration, but if you and a friend go, you know what, let's you and I order 150, or say you have 3 friends and you each order $100 or something, you can pick out some things from Celebration and then share the stamp set if you want to go that way. If that's something that you want my help with setting up a host code to do that this last week, please let me know and I can make that happen as well, because it's such a pretty stamp set, and the only way you can get it is with a $300 order, or combined to make up to get to that with some friends and such. Hi there, Marilyn. So that's from Celebrations. Don't forget, last week you can still sign up to join my team too, because that's a great deal. So the paper's in there, the stamp sets are the papers are in there, the stamp set's in there, yes. And then from the annual catalog, the one here, I'm flipping to page 126, just because sometimes it's these little things that people might miss, like the whole bundle of all the Stampin' Write markers, and then now that we have soft pastels back, and this is something that I had years ago and I still have mine, because we all know Stampin' Up! Products last so long, and same with the watercolor pencils. The watercolor pencils last for so long that I just pulled mine out today and I haven't used them in quite a while, and I know that they're just going to work and they're going to be great. So that's where they're coming from, just because I feel like they're a little bit hidden. So yeah, this Marbelous paper, as you can see, you can tell like what I've cut into and used here. And it comes in the various colors. So with the smoky slate, you kind of have this wilder design here of a swirl, and this is more of like a slate or marbled look here. And this is the soft one that I want to use. This is just going to be way too much, and our design's going to just kind of not it'll just blend in or disappear maybe. So then what I want to do first is do my stamping, and the last thing that I'll do is run it through to get that texture on there. And I'm actually going to do the cutting for you too, so you can kind of see if you like to get my cards and get those measurements. But if you don't get my cards and want to know kind of how things come together, I like to always give my hints and tips to you. So the Simply Marbelous paper comes 6 by 6, and I want to make it card front size, so that to me is always 4 inches. So I'm just going to cut off 2 inches here and set that aside. I have no purpose for that with today's card, but maybe a different day. And then I'm going to trim it, excuse my left-handedness again, but this is how I cut, 5 1/4. So I'm just going to measure that down here, and then that's going to give us like that 3/4 by 4 inch little strip, and this is what we are going to use for the card too. So you'll have the big piece and then that little strip that's going to be used today. So I can set to that aside, and then it goes straight into the stamping here. So I'm going to use my basic gray ink pad. Hi there, Pamela. Thanks for joining in. And this, I'm just going to actually put this big kind of bouquet of the Camellia. And I don't know if a lot of you are familiar with camellias. I had one of my stamping customers, or stamping friends, I always call them, say that it's reminiscent of her brother's flowers, and I thought, oh, I bet that's a sweet smell. It just looks like it have, you know, really nice sweet smell to it. So Joan, if you chime in here to watch the video, you'll know that that's you that I'm talking about. So here we have this stamped out, and just that in itself is so pretty because of it being a distinctive stamp. You can see with one ink up of the basic gray how much depth there is and how fun and easy that is. So it makes the card really simple just with that. So this is what we're starting with, and this is what we're going to try and get to. And since I have my ink out, I'm going to take the happy birthday and just ink that up from the same stamp set, the Calming Camellia. Just going to center that on that 3/4 by 4 inch strip there, and just set that aside. So now for the coloring part, this is where it's really easy. Even though these are watercolor pencils, I'm not going to add any water to them. Hey there, Julie. Thanks for popping in. I'm going to get my camera a little bit closer. I try and do that when I do coloring and things like that. So I'm going to start with actual like melon mambo color here. And if you have sets or more than one set, you can see the different colors here on the box of the watercolor pencils. Mine are so old, but still current, that, you know, the packaging might even look a little bit different now. I'm not even sure. And with this, I'm just going to kind of color in the centers of the flowers, just pencil that in like so. But if you have questions on it, please let me know. Hi, Sandy. Hi, Darla. Thank you, Darla. And then I chose a couple different greens here. So a lighter and a darker. So if you have, you know, watercolor pencils or even colored pencils, I'm going to next start with the darker and just kind of go around. And it doesn't take too long. I don't want to scribble. Sometimes with my blends, I feel like I get into the bad habit of scribbling just because I can, because no lines show up. And with the watercolor pencils, you might get, you know, a few lines here or there, but they're pretty soft lead. So it's going to kind of be forgiving that way too. So I'm just going to kind of go up the stem. You're not going to see a lot of that, but anywhere on these leaves where it's darker, then I'm just going to go over that. And so in some spots, because it is so dark, it's not really going to show up too much, but I just want to make sure that I'm kind of covering. And this one's kind of different because the darker is on the bottom half versus just a half a leaf like the other ones are. And then I'm going to switch over to my lighter color of green. And at first I thought, whoa, this is really light. And then after I went from this to work on my flowers and get those white, either the green kind of just soaked into the paper or just didn't seem as bright. So it just seemed like that was a perfect fit to really still make that white pop. And with this, I'm just going over everything like so. And then I'm going to go over it again just in bits and pieces with the darker of the two greens again to get some little hash marks in there, kind of like the artist intended when they were working with it. So far this is what I've got. I can bring that in, and you can see how much it started from being just pretty on its own to now it's really popping. And even though, like I said, I thought the light green was a little too light, I think it's exactly what it needed. And once I work on the flowers, you will hardly know that, you know, that it started out that light. It actually looks like it's capturing light into the project. And then the last color I'm going to use is the white. This is one that sometimes takes a little bit more elbow grease to get the white colored pencil to go on there. I don't want to, I might like just kind of scribble lightly, but I don't want to go over these areas where it's sketched in there, because sometimes it can pull up some of that ink and actually kind of muddy it. And I want to keep the white as white and bright as I can so that it stays true to the project that I wanted, and that's having the white pop out there too. You could take, Stampin' Up! Has that chalk marker. You could take and highlight some of the areas, like the tips of the flowers if you wanted, you know, an extra texture or something on there. But I will caution you that because it's a marker, it's gonna cover up some of the markings in there, the etchings in there. So I've got that. Just going to kind of go over that. And then I think we're done. So it's just amazing how you start with just all gray, and now that's all come to life. And now I'm going to just lift up my camera a little bit more, and now is where the card really comes together quick. So I want to add that fun texture to this, and the embossing folder that I'm going to use for that, I remember how everybody loved this at Christmas time, the Tasteful Textile. After I'd stamped everything out, I used this 3D embossing folder, and it was perfect. So I'm just going to take and put this in here and grab my cut and emboss machine. I just have the big thick plate number 1. Whoops, make sure that you get the hinge to go in first, and then plate number 4, and I'm just gonna put that through. And then something that I normally don't do, but like I said, I was copying this idea from Sherry, Cards by Sherry, and when she did this too, I thought, you know what, this is what really made the card pop for me. So I'm going to bring back that little strip with the happy birthday here. Hi, Sharon. And the next thing that I've done for little additional pieces are the Heart and Home doilies. And I've just taken one of these and cut it in half. So we have that. And then yesterday's card, if you remember yesterday's card that I made, this one here, kind of busy, but it has that layered vellum look there. So I'm just taking some of that vellum layered design here, and this is 1 1/4. Let me just remeasure so that you have that. Whoops, 1 1/4 by 3 1/2. So that's the measurements for that. But I'm going to put all of this through. And when I saw her do that, I was like, even the doily, even the doily. Okay, so let me just scoot that here a little bit. And then these 3 will all fit at the same time. So I'm going to put that in there. And sometimes you might go, how come Belle copies other people's ideas? I mean, she's got her own. When I see cards like this one, and I can just think so many of you are going to love this idea, love this technique, and it's just so different, then I go, you know what? I'm going to give Sherry the credit and you guys the wonderful idea, because why not when it's so pretty? So this kind of muddles a little bit some of the writing, but I still love the texture that it did for that. And look at the doily. It almost now looks like it's a cloth doily, which is really fun. And then the happy birthday on there, it just makes it look really vintage. It kind of looks like something if I found this in my grandma's attic or something. Like, wow. So just kind of a neat little texture. Oh, this ran out, which doesn't happen often, but when it does, then it's a good teaching moment, because I love to show people how easy it is to take the seal. Got a refill here. You know, earlier today I was like, you know what, this looks like it could run out during my video. So just take and pop open the case, which is really easy, and this part gets tossed, and then we have these two pieces here, and I'm just going to pop that right into those two little spools. Goes together easily, you don't have to thread anything, and it's ready to go again. Sometimes you might need to, this time I didn't need to, but scoot that up a little bit. So kind of a little bit of a pit stop there. So the card base here is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and I've scored it here at the 4 1/4, so it's actually, you know, 8 1/2, 5 1/2 that way. Hi Lorna, thanks for joining in. And now this is ready to go on top of that here, like so. And yeah, I just love this textile 3D embossing folder for such a soft look. And you want to do this last. Sherry had said, because if you do the embossing first and then use your colored pencils, just rubbing the hard with the colored pencils to get that ink will kind of flatten the embossed look. So that was her tip there, which I thought was really good. Then let me just kind of get some adhesive on this piece and on my doily, and then on my vellum as well across the middle, because I know even though it's a vellum, we have to watch out for adhesive. I know that if I put it right in the middle, it's going to get covered up with the birthday sentiment. There we go. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of put that close to the bottom there, and then actually I think what I'll do for spacing is just kind of lay this down and then lay this over top, so I kind of get that to stick together, and then I can pick that up together, and then I'm just going to match up, because this is 4 inches, then this is going to match up on each side there. So how quick and easy is that for a really special card? And then I'm going to go with the accessories. So the faux, no, this isn't the faux, the shimmer ribbon, gray granite. I store it right next to that faux early espresso. So I don't know if that's why. I almost said that. But the gray granite is a little bit maybe browner, if you want to say that, compared to the smoky slate. I'm just going to tie a little knot and kind of leave it almost like flat and almost kind of squarish there, so that it does lay flat. And then I'm just going to trim that there. So we just have kind of a flat little bow there. And I'm going to take a glue dot and just press that into, whoops, into that center where the knot is. And then I can just lay that off to the side like here. And like I said, it's not, you know, an exact match by any means to any of the smoky slate products that we have going on, but yet because of the feel of it and the vintage look of it, I think it's like perfect for, you know, that type of era of card. So we've got that. And then I am going to still add something that's a little shimmery and shiny. And these I haven't used in a while, the Silver and Clear Epoxy Essentials. And so these are really pretty and shiny. So it'll give a little special look. Whoops, trying to take it off with the clear underneath, and I'm just hitting bumps. So I'm just going to kind of take a little diamond there. And here I'm just going to put like 2 of them on like so. So I think that shape, kind of a little diamond there, and it's not overly shiny, so I don't think it's going to look too blingy for a card that in essence looks kind of, you know, vintage looking. Hi, Patricia from Switzerland. And then the inside, I'm just going to quick do a stamp in the inside, actually 2 stamps, but 1 ink up. If you know me, I love to put 2 stamps together on 1 block. So this one says, "You're in my thoughts today," which goes perfect with a birthday greeting. And then just a nice little kind of swirl or embellishment there. So I'm just going to ink that up in that same basic gray ink. And I like putting 2 stamps on one block when I can, because then everything's automatically inked up, and you know, one stamp, one ink up, and you're done, and then you don't have to worry about lining things up over and over. So oh, thank you. Yeah, Patricia, I'm feeling good today. It's just like we're in the middle of a weather advisory right now over here, so I'm snuggled in at home feeling good about that. And it's just been fun to get a bunch of stamping done uninterrupted today for you guys too. So hopefully you are enjoying this inspiration. Thanks, Julie. So yeah, like I said, the inspiration totally came from Sherry Stojkovic. Like I said, I think that's her. And when I saw how fast this came together too, I'm like, you guys have to see what you can do with this. And especially when this paper's free for one more week, I want to make sure that you guys realize how pretty this paper is before it's gone and you can't get it anymore either. So there we have. Happy birthday. You're in my thoughts today. Done. And let me get this moved around here. Whoops. Always a little bit stickier when I adjust it during my presentation there. Okay, so that was card number 6 out of 10 for the month of February, set of 10. And how you can get my whole set of 10, the variety pack this month, is if you order using the special host code there that I'll post with the still shot too. Or if you just want the set of 10, they're available for purchase for $25 as well. So that's all I have for today. Yeah, and Julie, the pencils are really cool. Like I said in the beginning too, it's been such a long time since I've gotten out my pencils, and I know there's so many of you that's your go-to. You love your colored pencils, and even though these are watercolor pencils, I didn't use any water on them at this time at all, because I wanted to make sure that all of the artist sketching in there, with it being a distinctive stamp set, just stayed put the way it was intended to be. So yeah, thanks Diane. Thank you so much, Kate. So that's all I have for you today, and I will see you guys tomorrow afternoon with card number 7. Take care.